QAnon conspiracy theorists are not necessarily a lost cause. One of the worst things you can do is cut them out of your life, because that means that they won't get any type of, opposing opinion. You don't have the opportunity to maybe talk them out of the terrible things that they've learned online through these various groups. And a perfect example of that is this story involving a woman whose mother had gone down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theoricism online. And apparently all it took was a popular game to de-radicalize her. So, posting to popular subreddit QAnon casualties, her child Joe explained that they introduced their mom to Wordle almost against her will, as she was putting so much time into chatting on Telegram and watching conspiracy videos. So this popular word game changed her life. Now she spends as much as 2 to 3 hours per day playing bootleg Wordle, more on that in a moment, on another site that lets you play as much as you like. I'm not even joking. That's the statement from Joe, who was able to basically distract her mom with a fun game so she's not continuing to radicalize herself through these online conspiracy forums. And I absolutely love it. Now, for those of you who play Wordle, you usually get one word a day. So playing it for 2 to 3 hours seems like it makes no sense. But there are other versions that let you play an unlimited amount of games, which I gotta look for because that sounds fun.
Okay, so it's a hopeful story for sure. Because look, people are really easily influenced. Otherwise, they wouldn't believe the insanity of QAnon. I mean, QAnon started insane with leaders in the Democratic Party, but also in Hollywood and other places, leading a child sex trafficking ring where they not only molested kids, but then killed them and drank their blood. Okay, so that was like instantly it was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. There was not a single moment where it wasn't insane. But then it went even more insane in different offshoots that people are actually hooked on. Well, JFK Jr. and JFK are gonna come back, and they're gonna make Donald Trump president again, and we all gotta go to Dallas. And that's a real thing, and real family members got hooked on it, and they're living in a compound in Dallas now, I believe. And so, because guess why? Because the date that JFK Jr. was supposed to come back, you're gonna be shocked to find out he didn't, okay? So it's easy to call them nuts, but they got easily influenced in that direction, which leads you to believe they could get influenced in another direction. Like, so that's why we're saying don't give up on them. And it's deeply, deeply frustrating. And if you're a family member, and so many stories of people leaving their kids behind to go to Dallas, to go and participate in this quackery and never coming back. But the minute you cut off connections, they're only gonna have those guys to influence them.
Yeah.
And guys, it's impossible not to be frustrated, but you have to slowly influence them in the other direction. You're not gonna win overnight, okay?
Exactly.
But one word at a time, in this case, quite literally.
I really appreciate what Joe did here though, because I've been thinking more and more about like, okay, how do you plant seeds? Like, how do you engage in discussions with people who have fallen down that rabbit hole and persuade them to maybe be a little more skeptical of these conspiracy theories? But I actually think distracting them with something that is fun, enjoyable, and benign like Wordle is a better way to do it. So Joe also says this, she has to discuss Wordle issues with me, her mom does, multiple times per day, which has made her more social and less isolated. She's always texting me to brag on a score. By the way, I did that this morning. Or express frustration. Sometimes she asks me to help her when she's stuck. Anyway, Wordle, share it with the QAnon cult member in your life, she says.
Yeah, look, it makes sense. And if you're trying to solve puzzles, you're using logic to some degree. We're back on the path to sanity. And so this is a unique way of doing it, an interesting way of doing it. It's not necessarily gonna work for your family member, but it isn't the point to just use Wordle. The point is to reintroduce them into sane social circles a little bit at a time. And be open. And you've got to have a real open heart because they're going to drive you nuts.
Because I think one of the things that draws people in, especially to like those forums, is like you think you're part of this community. And so if you can socialize them in a healthier environment, I think that's far more effective. Here, I'll give you another example. In response to Joe's story, another Redditor said this, I love this. One commenter recalled that they remember reading that one person's QAnon Q-mom turned away from conspiracy theories after developing an interest in Korean dramas.
Okay,
they're
good.
very popular right now, very hot. They added, just shows how many people turn to Q because they need something in their life to obsess over. But I think it's not about something to obsess over. I really think that it has to do with, feeling like a sense of community. And I do think that there are a lot of lonely, atomized people out there, and we can find better ways, we can strategize to help them out instead of just rejecting them as crazy people.
Yeah, and so one last thing. QAnon does provide these things for them, unfortunately, things like community, but the other thing that it provides is purpose. They feel like they're fighting against the machine and that they're brave truth tellers and rebels that figured it out, and they're the community of rebels who are fighting back, right? And it gives them purpose. So another idea is to give them a different purpose, one that is both sane and maybe even helpful, right? So, and it could be as simple as trivia, and literally like it's trivial, right? And in this case, Wordle. Or it could be a good purpose. Hey, let's go help out at the hospital. I mean, or let's help out kids. I mean, you say you're really interested in kids, right? I mean, you're heartbroken over what happened to these kids, right? Let's go help kids. Let's go to the local hospital and these kids that have got cancer, or maybe child sex survivors, right? That's real, right? And you could actually go help those people, and that give you a real purpose, help people, and get back into the logical world, and hopefully find that community that actually helps kids, that's wonderful and loving. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.